Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that the video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is fantastic. And maybe you could also let me know where you're watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua is planning to form a mega alliance which he hopes will send William Ruto to Sugoi in 2027. Rigathi Gachagua dropped the hint yesterday during his State of the Nation address or interview with NTV.
I'm sure early February we'll have come up with something we can give to our people.
You've said you're talking with other political leaders, yes. And there has been talk out there that you are headed to join forces with Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Natembea, and those.
I think people are jumping the gun. Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are great leaders of this country, and definitely we can work together. Absolutely, and of course, myself and the people of the mountain were very happy with the stand Kalonzo Musyoka took during the impeachment to stand with me. And our people are normally very grateful people. They remember good deeds. And we have listened to what Kalonzo is saying. And we like what he is saying. So there are opportunities that we can always work together. And in fact, there was a cultural meeting between the Gikuyu, the Embu, and the Meru, and the Akamba trying to coin something that they work together. And I want to encourage, that's a very good discussion, because you know the Akamba people are our cousins. In fact, it's unfortunate we had not been talking earlier, but you know, God's timing is always the best. So, but we have not agreed on any alliance with anybody. What is happening is that leaders who are like-minded talk with each other. But before we can even come to that, you cannot go to discuss with other people before you put your house in order.
But the biggest question is simple and only one. Can Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, and Eugene Wamalwa's alliance defeat William Ruto in 2027? If you ask me, and I've only stated the same on this particular platform, William Ruto is the easiest president to remove from office via the ballot. But can Kalonzo remove William Ruto? Can Rigathi Gachagua remove William Ruto? Can Wamalwa remove William Ruto? That is the biggest question.
Sasa nikisikia watu kusema kutoa serikali, bwana, tusemane ukweli bwana. You know, we are young people, we don't want to lie to our community at this early stage. Hii uongo tumeisikia miaka mingi. Our young generation, we don't want to follow the same footsteps the old people have taken us through. Mtu nasimama hapa, nitoboe nisoboe. Niwaambie kitu moja. Ni ukweli, hata mimi ni mmoja wao nilisimama juzi nikasema nikipewa motion ya kutoa Ruto nitatoa. Ni ukweli watu hawapendi Ruto. Lakini hao watu ambao wanatembea hapa wameongozwa na Kalonzo, ndio wanaweza toa Ruto kwa kiti, tusemane ukweli bwana. Let's be serious. Ndio watatoa Ruto kwa kiti hawa. It is true watu hawapendi hiyo jamaa. Lakini ati hawa bwana, korekezi mpaka bwana, korekezi mpaka. Nitoboe nisoboe, korekezi mpaka. Mchana usiku danganya watu, mchana hapana, sio kale bwamizi, danganya wengine.
So in this video, I want to offer my unsolicited advice to Rigathi Gachagua and his new alliance of Kalonzo and Eugene Wamalwa on the things they need to do to defeat William Ruto in 2027. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two. Click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. But again, before I dive in, allow me to also take this opportunity once again to introduce you guys to Lemfi. Lemfi is a mobile money app for users in the UK, Canada, and the United States of America to send money back to Kenya. They offer the best exchange rates, and the money will be delivered instantly into your M-Pesa account, Airtel Money account, and of course, if you want directly into your bank account, you can use the link in the pinned comment to download the app. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. First of all, Rigathi Gachagua has already announced to the entire country that in January he's going to make a major announcement.
Naendelea kuongea na watu, viongozi wetu wa kanisa tunaongea, wafanyi biashara wetu tunaongea, professionals wetu tunaongea. Hao viongozi wale wako na akili na wanapenda watu wetu tunaongea. Januari hii nitamueleza vile tumesikizana.
And personally, I am convinced that Rigathi Gachagua will be making two announcements in January. The first announcement he's going to make is the formation of his new political party. Because without a political party, there is nowhere Rigathi Gachagua will go. The second thing Rigathi Gachagua is going to announce to the country is the alliance he's going to join. And you can clearly tell that alliance is going to be Kalonzo, Rigathi, Eugene Wamalwa, and maybe other people will come on board. But the question is one: can that particular alliance defeat William Ruto in 2027? Let me offer my unsolicited advice, pro bono advice, to Rigathi Gachagua if he intends to revenge against William Ruto successfully. These are the 6 things they need to do. Number 1, for Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo Musyoka's alliance to defeat William Ruto in 2027, they must make Kalonzo Musyoka as the presidential candidate. And after making Kalonzo Musyoka as the presidential candidate, then they must do a SWOT analysis on Kalonzo and amplify on his strengths, but also improve on his weaknesses. One of the biggest issues has always been whether Kalonzo Musyoka is serious about the presidential elections in 2027. Because we all know that by now, Kalonzo Musyoka would be on almost everybody's lips. But Kalonzo Musyoka is just lethargic, doing nothing. But the question is, why Kalonzo Musyoka? If Kalonzo Musyoka were to be their pick, the entire Kamba nation will vote for Kalonzo Musyoka, the entire Kamba nation. Then the Kikuyu nation will rally around Kalonzo Musyoka easily. Those who are not happy with William Ruto will easily vote for Kalonzo Musyoka, especially those who are in Azimio, because those who are in Azimio strongly believe that Kalonzo Musyoka has been shortchanged in Azimio. So they will still vote for Kalonzo Musyoka, especially those whose allegiance were with Raila Odinga and they now feel Raila Odinga betrayed them. But in case they are not going to pick Kalonzo, they can pick on Fred Matiang'i. The advantage of Fred Matiang'i is that if they were to pick Fred Matiang'i instead of Kalonzo, and then they agree that Kalonzo, Rigathi, both of them are rallying around Matiang'i, that would even be a better ticket. Because Matiang'i, I don't think the Kikuyus will have a problem with him. If Kalonzo were to rally to support him, then I think the Kamba nation will vote for him, although Ruto will still get some votes in Ukambani, unlike when Kalonzo was the presidential candidate. And of course, Matiang'i will also be able to get a good chunk of the votes from the Western Alliance. For example, the entire Gusii region will rally around him. So that's the first thing they must do, either Kalonzo or Matiang'i. So which means Rigathi Gachagua should forget about the presidency in 2027. The second thing they need to do is to come up with a proper formation. A formation that can win the presidency. Who is going to be part of their team? For example, I strongly believe that if, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka were to be picked as the presidential candidate for that team, then the running mate can be Matiang'i, but the best running mate can actually be George Natembeya. George Natembeya as the running mate. So that we have Kalonzo and George Natembeya, someone who has been a DO, DC, blah, blah, regional RC, regional commissioner, understands the dynamics because he has always been used by the system to even rig, and he knows how the statecraft, he understands them. So the winning formation will be who is going to be the running mate, who is going to be the Nairobi governor, who can bring the finance, who can bring the numbers, so that you don't just end up with Kalonzo as a presidential candidate and Wamalwa when Wamalwa cannot. You'd rather have Kalonzo and, let's say, Natembeya, or Kalonzo and who else? Let's say Fred Matiang'i. So they must, if Wamalwa can be that candidate, which I don't think so, then the better. But they must get the formation or the winning formula right. So that's the first thing. In fact, right now, their strategists should be working very hard on the formation, doing opinion polling. Kalonzo paired with, say, Wamalwa, Kalonzo paired with Matiang'i, Matiang'i paired with Kalonzo. Who? So that's the second thing. Without that, they should forget. Number 3, which is the most important one, is the finance pesa. 2027 presidential elections in the Republic of Kenya is going to be the most expensive election in the history of the Republic of Kenya. Before I explain, allow me to take this opportunity to also thank the following people. You are seeing their names on the screen there for the coffee which they sent to me earlier today. It goes a long way in supporting this channel, and you can also do the same using the numbers you are seeing on your screen. A cup of coffee only goes for 200 shillings, but you can do more. Ladies and gentlemen, I was saying that finance is going to be a critical player in 2027 presidential elections. You've seen how William Ruto is dishing money to churches every weekend. Every weekend. I was just going through the dailies today, and there's a list of boarding schools which are likely to be closed because they have not met the standards. While William Ruto is busy giving money to churches instead of building schools. So that just tells you that 2027 presidential elections is not going to be judged, or it's not going to be about the delivery, but the amount of money they can spend to buy. So if Kalonzo Musyoka is going to be the presidential candidate, then Rigathi Gachagua must mobilize enough funds for him to match Ruto. If that's not going to be there, they should forget. I want to assure you that money is going to be a major player in 2027 presidential elections in the Republic of Kenya. Already, we are getting information that William Ruto's team had already bought a propaganda software, just propaganda software, which will be communicating just to brainwash people. Serious stuff. So money, they must have money. If they won't have enough money, it's going to be serious business, because William Ruto is going to open with the kind of corruption we've witnessed in the Republic of Kenya. Tell me if William Ruto is not going to spend his money. That's number 3. Number 4 is what is normally referred to as the vote protection unit. If they want to win the presidency, they must as a matter of urgency, come up with the strategies of protecting the votes. One of my friends here, Robert Moses, who is a member of this channel, just texted me this, that there's this story about IBC. We are in a crisis. Only court can save us. So he's advising me to start talking about IBC. You see, the thing is, William Ruto is a cornered man, but he has the state resources as we speak. The reason why we don't have IBC commissioners in place is because William Ruto is playing politics with them. William Ruto's only hope in 2027, in my view, has always been rigging. And you know you can rig without people not knowing. So Kalonzo, Rigathi, and the team must come up with a strategy on how they are going to protect the votes. Let me ask you this question. Do you think Kalonzo Musyoka, as we speak, or even Rigathi Gachagua, they can manage to get agents in my village of Nyakach? So right now, they should be focusing on creating those grassroots networks, so that on the day of the elections, and this is the mistake Azimio committed, on the day of the elections, because the results are normally announced at the polling station, then they'll have their agent recording, so that in case they decided to dispute those results, they will have evidence. Important. They can only have vote protection units if they have the goodwill, or especially of the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs can offer that we are going to protect these votes for Kalonzo. Can Kalonzo Musyoka win the support of the Gen Zs to an extent that the Gen Zs can decide we are going to protect the votes? That they are going to volunteer to be agents of Kalonzo or of Rigathi Gachagua. Without vote protection unit, they should forget. Number 5 is the Kikuyu voting bloc. I don't want to talk about this much, but we can't ignore the number of votes from the Kikuyu nation. We can't ignore that. You can't. The Kikuyu nation have the highest number of voters in the Republic of Kenya, from Nakuru, Kiambu, all the way. As long as Kalonzo and Rigathi will not be able to lock Ruto completely out of the mountain, they are going to be in trouble. Because for William Ruto, he doesn't need the entire mountain. Maybe he only needs 30%. So how can they stop Ruto from getting 10% of the mountain and ensure that the rest are in one basket? Yeah? You can understand why Rigathi Gachagua is being stopped from attending events in Mount Kenya. He was stopped from attending an event in Molo, in Embu. So the Kikuyu votes. Number 6, and I don't know how they are going to achieve this, is that they must seek for the backing of either Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta. If Uhuru and Raila will not support that camp, they'll be wasting their time. They'll be. Because with the support of Uhuru, for example, let's say Raila is working with Ruto, then they decide to win the support of Uhuru. Uhuru will help them consolidate the mountain. Uhuru will also help them with the raising funds. So they need that support. And lastly, is proper communication strategy. In fact, it will be important. Rigathi Gachagua has something special in him. Like, for example, when he had that interview with NTV, people picked a lot of things. People picked a lot of things from there. So the thing is, for them to succeed, they need a rallying call. Like William Ruto in 2022 had the hustler narrative. They need a rallying call. If it is Ruto must go as the rallying call, then they should be able to sustain it. If it is Zakayo and the tax, they must maintain it. If it is about Zakayo Shuka, they must maintain it. But they must get a rallying call. They must figure out how to paint William Ruto as a failure. They must figure out how to communicate effectively so that their supporters will be able to understand why they should be able to vote for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to think, but that's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. I'm back in Kisumu, and hopefully we are going to do proper analysis moving forward, because as things stand today, the 2027 presidential elections, the campaigns have already begun. Until that time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.